Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and this is my final paper presentation. I wrote a paper. The title of my paper is The Importance of Film Color Theory and Storytelling. And in this paper, I analyzed the color in the films Moonlight and Us. According to Jason Hellerman, film color theory is when certain colors in the film elicit certain emotions from the audience. Directors, cinematographers, and colorists, they work together to make sure that the color is complementing the plot. Color psychology is something that goes with film color theory, and color psychology is the study of how colors affect behavior, mood, and impression on others. So I chose these two films because of their difference in color. Moonlight is a drama and the plot is pretty sad, pretty depressing, but the colors of the film are vibrant and the director did this on purpose. He wanted to break away from the normal look of a drama about social issues. He wanted, because they're usually realist, but he wanted that vibrant look, especially since the film was filmed in Miami. He just wanted to play into that vibrancy of Miami and just juxtapose the look with the plot. With Us, it's a horror film, and Jordan Peele, he did not use color in a way to break away from the norm of a horror film's look. The film is very dark looking. It can be kind of hard to see because that's how dark it is. But I chose these two because of that difference, so that the study can show how the color doesn't have to be typical in order to work, but even if it is the typical look, it's still relevant to helping the plot. So basically, how I did this, I watched the films and I took stills from each film. I put the stills in Adobe Photoshop and I created color palettes for the films. So we're going to start with Moonlight and see how color worked with this film. So two of the most significant colors that were in this film were red and blue. And I found that they were used as sort of transition colors, even though red and blue is throughout the whole film. They're used differently by the values and the hues. Um, the film is broken up in three chapters. And so in this first chapter is little, it's very vibrant. And I think that represents his innocence. He's young, he's confused, and he has a lot of things going on around him that he just does not understand. The blue here represents sadness, trust, and confidence. He's sad because of his current situation. His mom is on drugs and he's getting bullied every day for his sexuality, which he isn't really even understanding as a child. And so he here in the bottom right corner is his friend Kevin. He has on the blue plaid shirt, and his Kevin tries to instill confidence in him, just because he sees that he's getting bullied, and he's like, that it doesn't have to be that way. And red here represents strength in this particular moment. Um, they fight. It's sort of like a play fight, but the fight is to show the other boys that Chiron can't be messed with. That even though people look down on him and they might think bad things about him, he still can stand up for himself. And so that's where his strength comes in this moment. And then blue representing trust. Here is his sort of mentor, Juan, and I think my picture's in the way, so I hope y'all can see the palette. But here's his mentor Juan, and Juan basically is one of the few people who shows that he cares about Sharon, and just helps him get through this tough time as a young boy who doesn't have much guidance. Okay, so here is chapter two, which is titled Chiron, and you still see the blue and the red, but they're not as vibrant. They kind of dulled out with darker, well, darker reds and the pale sort of blues. So here, Chiron still gets bullied. His mother is still a drug addict, but it's worse as things have gone on. She never stopped doing drugs, so it just her addiction got worse. Juan has died, and his friend Kevin betrayed him. So yeah, it's a terrible chapter of the movie. So here, blue represents isolation and red represents anger. I don't have a still from when he was violent in the second chapter, but he did become violent in the second chapter because of all of the anger that was building up in him, the isolation that he felt. It was just too much for him to bear, and so he snapped. So here in this top right left, or the top left corner, you see Chiron, and then you see the boy in red who's the bully, who was later attacked by Chiron in chapter 2. And then here you see these very light blues that almost don't even look blue, this bluish gray. A very sad scene with his mother where she tells him that he can't spend the night in his own home, that he's not allowed to sleep there for the night. And here, um, there's the blues, and then there's this sort of red in the background. And here is where he is betrayed by his friend Kevin. So the colors, they don't give you a very optimistic feeling. There's nothing happy about these colors because the film isn't happy at all, especially during this part. So where it comes with the vibrancy, it's starting to become more realistic, starting to fall into the the plot and the theme of the plot instead of that vibrancy that you saw in chapter 1 where it juxtaposes it. It's starting to become more realistic as Chiron gets older. So here is chapter 3, the last chapter, and this one is titled Black, and this is the most realistic looking part of the film. And I believe this is because Chiron has matured, he's grown. He really just works and keeps to himself. As you can see in this right picture, it's all blue, monochromatic, and he literally just keeps to himself and works. So he's still isolated, even though he's grown and matured. He's still lonely, still isolated. Right here, you can see, or let me, in this bottom left corner, you see the blue and the green, and this is where he reconciles with his mother. The blue represents sadness, and the green represents self awareness. Here, his mom admits her shortcomings as a mother, but it's kind of hard for Chiron to accept her apology because he is hurt from the past. And then this top left corner is Chiron and Kevin, and they have reconciled their friendship. Um, and I think these colors, this red is not a very vibrant red, it's more that realistic look. And the blue, they represent trust and love as friends, as Chiron's confidant. Kevin is the only one who really understands Chiron and what he's going through. So I believe that, this whole chapter is just the most realistic looking part of the film regarding color, and that's because Chiron matures and accepts himself and opens up himself to his friend and also his mother. And this is the very last shot of the movie. It's monochromatic, it's all blue. And I believe that this represents tranquility, the peace Chiron felt after coming out and being open and being his true self. So, yes, that is the Moonlight analysis. So, let's go to Us. Okay, so Us, the most significant color in this film is red. And film color theory was used differently in Us than it was in Moonlight. So basically, Us uses film color theory for symbolism, instead of, using it to follow the plot. It doesn't do that really at all, but you see symbolism in this film and also significance. So first, we're going to start off with the symbolism of red. In the beginning of the film, well, not the very beginning, but the beginning of the film, um, red symbolizes a warning. So basically, Adeline, she keeps seeing red, and here is in the top right corner with the frisbee. She keeps seeing small red things that symbolize they're giving her a warning signal, and by the time it reaches the sort of the most tension in the film, she's paranoid that someone is after her. So that is the first representation of red. And then the second representation of red is anger and war. The doppelgangers or tethered, they wear red jumpsuits. And the costume designer actually said that the reason Red, who is the doppelganger, wears red is because the jumpsuit represents the anger that she's been carrying all these years, having been replaced by Adeline above ground. And so she carries this anger on her sleeve. She wears her feelings on her sleeve, basically. And then it also represents war because she has been planning this war to take back her spot above ground. And I put these examples of Kitty and Josh. Here you see on the bottom left corner, Kitty and Josh is normal colors in this pink representing the innocence, of the people above ground. They really don't know what's going on, what's about to happen. And then you see here, their doppelgangers in the bottom right corner have taken their spots. They've killed them. Red raging war um, among, on ground against the people who they want to replace. So also the colors signify the difference between the two worlds. So you have the tethered world and then you have the world above ground. And you see the difference in the color. So with the above ground, which is on the right, you see how bright it is and how vibrant it is. And it really just looks alive. Like these are the people who are living actual life, who are living reality. And then on the left, with the tethered, the darkness and the dullness of the browns really just shows how the tethered are the people above ground's shadows, and that they really don't live life. They're just mimicking what happens above them. They can't even control themselves, and it's really just dark, a dark way to have to live. So the color really signifies the difference between how the two, you know, types of people are living, the tethered and the people above ground. So that is the end of the analysis of the films. And as you can see, film color theory was used differently in these films. It was not the same. Moonlight is used as a transitional colors and following Chiron's journey, and Us is used for symbolism and significance. Both techniques, even though they were different, they do still work well in helping telling the story. And all in all, implementing color correctly is very important in filmmaking. People study color through film color theory, color grading, color correcting. You have cinematographers and productions, set designers and colorists who work to make sure that color really plays a large role in these films and really stands out and helps the film move along in the plot. And I believe that color will continue to be utilized as, film progresses. So yes, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for watching.